Hey everyone, it's Trader Rob. As promised, I wanted to create an updated video on a strategy that I labeled the 15-minute Rob reversal that I introduced about 4 months ago. I wanted to create an update on that strategy with all of the tweaks and all of the conditions and all of the special circumstances that you might find yourself trading the strategy each day, right after the intro. As always, nothing that I state on my channel is financial advice. Trading futures or any type of trading is risky business. Any capital that is put out there is at risk for loss. Okay, so here's the original video that was posted about 4 months ago on my channel. It's currently at about 42,000 views, and it's obviously been a very, very popular strategy. It's been a very profitable strategy as well, which is obviously why I think it's become so popular. During that time, I have been, I create a video every single trading day and I go over all three of my strategies. So I have a strategy in oil, a strategy in gold, and I have my 15-minute Rob reversal. Each trading day, I go over how the strategy performed, the different setups that occurred, what validates the setups, and what invalidates the setups. So a nice thing is that if you ever have a doubt or in question if what you're looking at is correct or if you took the correct setup, you can always refer back to my video for that particular trading day, and I will show you in the setup. So I do a pre-session video. I break down all of my trades each day, and then I do a daily recap. The daily recap, which is towards the end of each video, is typically where I show you, not typically, it's where I show you the setups that the 15-minute Rob reversal created. So let's go over the actual rules and conditions for this trade. It is essentially a very simple candlestick pattern that we are looking for in a particular time period of the day. So the trading times for this strategy is between 8:30 a.m. Central Time. Now I am in Central Time. You guys just make your adjustments to wherever you're at. And I end my session at 1:15 Central Time. Okay. I am on a 15-minute time frame. So that is important. This strategy can be traded on the 1 minute, on the 5 minute. You can even go higher, 30 minutes. My back testing, I've traded the 1 minute and the 5 minute extensively. And I find it to be a little bit more challenging because it's a quicker pace, and the biggest issue that I have is that the EMAs do not follow it so well, or I should say the EMA does not follow it as well on the 1 and 5 minutes. So you do get a lot of false signals. That's just my opinion. That's how I, before when I was trading it, I do know some people in my Discord that do trade it on different time frames. Some are successful. If you're that type of trader that wants several setups per day, lower your time frame. If you're looking for one setup per day or one setup every other day, this is the correct time frame. All of my back testing, all of my setups that I show you is on the 15-minute time frame. Another condition that I have is that once we get into an entry, or once we place our entry order to go either short or long, and I'm going to go through a lot of examples here so that you leave this video with a clear understanding of how this strategy works. I do have 1 tick of offset on my entry order. Okay, so it's pretty much giving you a 1 tick buffer where the candle that would activate you into the trade, you don't want it to have an equal low or an equal high and then be able to get into that trade. I'm telling you that 1 tick of offset is extremely important in this particular strategy. For a short trade, the activation candle must close below the 80 MA. So the ADMA is essentially the only indicator that I have on a chart. That's the only thing that I am looking at. So I have my time frame, I have my, I have my time condition, I have my time frame on the candles that I'm using, I have 1 tick of offset on my entry order, and I will only take a short trade if it closes below the ADMA, and I will only take a long trade if it closes above the ADMA. Pretty simple. This, I don't know, kind of half-ass line that I drew here is representing the ADMA so that you guys can have kind of a visual as I go through these rules and conditions. And then I will obviously go through the charts and show you guys the multiple setups that you can face. And also, very importantly, I will show you a lot of situations where trades are validated or invalidated. I am always looking for 35 points of take profit, and I have a 35-point stop loss. So essentially, it's a 1-to-1. Now, you could say, Rob, 35 points on an NQ contract, which is what I trade, that's serious money. Yeah, it's a $700 profit or loss. Well, guess what? If you're trading the futures, you don't have to trade the NQ. You could trade the MNQ, which is the micro version of it, which is 1/10 of the trade. So now 1 point is only $2. On 35 points, you're looking for $70 of profit, $70 of stop loss. So adjust your position sizing to what your account will allow you to do and what your risk tolerance is. Now, let's get into the actual pattern that we are looking for. So we'll go over first an example to go short in the market. To go short, you absolutely, and these are musts, okay? You must start with an up candle. So a green candle. Let's just say your charts are green and red. I typically have black and white charts, which I'll show you guys later on. But I think visually it's easier for people to see to understand that green is an up candle. Okay, so we must start with an up candle right here. We get that. Condition 1, check. Next candle must be a down candle. So it must be a red candle. Okay, that is a requirement. And that red candle needs to create a higher high than the previous up candle. So essentially what we're looking for is we're looking for our green candle to go up, our next candle to go higher than this green candle. Okay, so we're get continuation upwards. And then what we're looking for is that pull, that reversal down, which is saying sellers are stepping in, there is a reversal here in the market, and as long as it's closing below this ADMA, you will be in a trade, but there is still one more condition that is left, actually 2. The red candle must not make a new lower low compared to this green candle. So if this red candle right here was to close down here, this trade is invalidated at this point. Okay, that's it. It's as simple as that. And then your entry order, which is this black line right here that you can see a space, that is your 1 tick of offset to go short. This close below, here's your ADMA right here, this line that I drew. So this is a valid short setup. And the opposite is true for a long example. A long example must start with a red down candle. Okay, so we get that right here. We get the down red candle, no problem. The next candle must be a green candle. So it must be an up candle for this pattern to even start to qualify. Okay, and that green candle needs to create a lower low than this previous down candle. Okay, you can see that this is your low here for the previous candle. This up needs to make a lower low. Same example as the short, just in reverse. We've got price action going down. We want the next candle to even go lower, but then reverse back upwards. That is the momentum play that we are looking for. And the last condition here is that this up candle cannot create a higher high compared to the down candle. And the same thing, you would then have, once you get this set up, and this bar, the green bar, closes above the ADMA, you are now in you're now activated into a trade. So you would have, in order to go long, one tick above this up candle. The next bar, if it pierces through that entry, you are now in a trade, and you would now be looking for 35 points of take profit, and you would have a 35-point stop loss target. Very simple rules and conditions on the trades. That's how I like to trade. That's how I trade my oil, my gold strategy, and the 15-minute Rob reversal. This avoids over trading. It avoids revenge trading. And if the setup's there, take it. If the setup's not there, you don't take it. It's that simple. So now that we have this, and this is available on my Discord, we'll get into that in a little bit. So let's get into the actual charts. I'm going to give you, first we're going to start with NinjaTrader, and then I'm going to show you an example in TradingView, because I think TradingView is more widely used by probably majority of the traders for charting. I personally use NinjaTrader, so that is how I take all of my trades. So it's pretty simple for me to show you. Now, what you're looking at, first of all, the black line here is just an 8 EMA. Nothing special here, an 8 EMA. It is the only indicator, the only filter that I have for these trades. But it is so damn powerful. It is unbelievable how many bad trades it gets you out of and how many good trades it gets you into. Okay, so now you say, Rob, what are these the green arrows and the red arrows? All right, so when I first started trading this strategy on the 1 minute and the 5 minute, going back almost 2 years, probably about 1.5 years to 2 years back, I paid for a coder to pretty much create me an indicator that I can use on NinjaTrader that would just paint the arrows when the setups occurred. Okay, now this just keeps painting them. It does not filter on time. So this one here is at 7 in the morning. This would not be our valid trade. Remember, we start from 8:30 in the morning to 1:15 p.m. Central Time. But to be honest with you, once I started trading this for probably about 3-4 weeks, I can look at a naked chart on a 15-minute time frame on the NQ, and I can just spot these setups. I mean, instantly. They stand out. They stand out very strongly. But in the beginning, I highly recommend having some kind of indicator, or just kind of plot them as I will plot them in TradingView, so that your brain and your mind start to see these patterns and will allow you to see these setups very easily. So we'll go over these examples and what validates things and what does not validate things. All I did is I went back about a week. I'm on, I think, March, let's see here, March 8th, I believe. Yep, March 8th is where I'm starting at. And again, I'm only looking at trades from 8:30 in the morning, which would be right here. Okay, that's the my open here. And we get a setup that says to go long. Now, would this be a valid setup? Well, the pattern's there. Okay, you've got your down bar, you've got your up bar. It created a new lower low, and it did not create a higher high. So it closed within this candle, but above the close of this down bar. Now, candlestick pattern, condition, met. Time period, met. But this, look at the ADMA. If we are saying, okay, we're going to go long, it must close above the ADMA. This does not. This is not a valid setup. Okay? Now, we get the next setup, which happened at 11:45 a.m. on March 8th. You can go into your charts and you can kind of start to plot these yourself, and you can see how these work out. Now, do we have a valid pattern? Yes, we do. To go short, remember we need an up candle. The next candle must be a down candle. It must have a higher high than this previous up candle, but must not have a lower low than this candle. So we have a valid setup right here. If I go into, if I put a line where my entry order would be, it would be right here where this blue line is at, 1 tick of offset. And from here, we are looking for 35 points of profit, 35 points of stop loss. Now, if I quickly, and I'm going to activate a strategy here that'll show you these much easier. But let's just see here. If we go from this entry down to the low here, that's 141 points, people. 141 points. Now, there are variations to take profits and stop loss. I know a lot of people who do trailing stops, which, to be honest with you, over the last 2-3 weeks, the trailing stops have been absolutely killing it. Now here, an example of a trailing stop would be, so you wouldn't have a 35 point fixed take profit. What you would do is you would take your stop loss, and then you would place it at the top of this next candle. Okay, we're still in this trade. Once this bar closes, you then go down one more. We're still in this trade. You go down one more, and we're still in this trade. You go down one more, and you're still in this trade. Now, you would get stopped out right here, and that would have generated you roughly 105 points of profit on this trade. Okay? So that kind of gives you the example. Now remember, I strictly do 35 point take profit. I'm 1-to-1, but I do acknowledge that the trailing stop well, let's just say in March, has been absolutely on fuego. Now let's take a look at our next setup. So here you would have finished this trade. You would have then gotten a signal to go long. Well, again, this trade does not activate because it closes below the ADMA. No trade. We then get another setup to go short. Now, what's wrong with this one? Well, it's got multiple issues. The only condition met here is the pattern, the candlestick pattern. That worked. But this closes above the ADMA. So that would invalidate you right there. And this is at 2 p.m. in the day, at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. That invalidates that trade as well. Okay? So you can kind of see, let's just go on to the next day, and then I'm going to activate the strategy here so that you guys can kind of see exactly how I trade this during the day. Now, this one we've got, so this, what day is this? This is the 11th. So we had the weekend here. Market open 8:30 right here. We get a setup to go short, invalidated because it closed above the ADMA. We get another setup to go long, invalidated because it closes below the ADMA. We get another setup to go long, again invalidated because it closed below the ADMA. Here we go. So at exactly 1 p.m., we get a setup to go long. Does this close above the ADMA? Sure as shit it does. Now let's take a look. So you would have here your entry order to go long, 1 tick above, right there. That's your entry order. Sorry if it's a little hard to see. And let's just see where this sucker would have gone from here. Your entry order to the top is 44 points. On your 35 point take profit, you get your full take profit here. And that's the last trade of the day. Okay? So this indicator that I coded, or not that I coded, I paid for to have done, I share it with, I've probably shared it with over 1,000 to 1,500 people on my Discord already. So if you're interested in the free indicator, all you have to do is just subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave me a comment saying that you want the indicator. Now, let's just go back to the 8th. and we'll work our way back. Let's just make sure I'm on the 8th here, March 8th. Okay, so here we go. And let's correct this here. Now let me activate the strategy that one of our amazing members in Discord, you know who you are, you're freaking awesome. He created this this strategy, and it will automatically get you into these trades. So it's got the validation and the conditions built into the strategy. It's even got additional ones if you want to do tweaks to the strategy, which is awesome. So let's pull that up. Here's the strategy. Again, I traded from 8:30 in the morning to 1:15 p.m. I am on the 8 EMA. So that's all. These are my settings exactly as I trade them. Now you can do the trailing stop that we just talked about. It's a good option. The way I trade it is a fixed stop right there. So that one is checked on. And the only other setting that I use is the enable long trades. I am looking for 35 points, which equates to 140 ticks. And on my short entries, sorry, this should be 140 and 140. So my stop would be 35 points, or again, 140 ticks. I enable the strategy, and let's see how this looks. So now what it does, you know what, I'll even take off my indicator. Right here. Let's take my indicator off, which is right here. Let's just say it's not visible. Apply. Okay, so now it takes away all of the signals that don't work. Okay, so now it's just giving you the setups that you would take for the good or the bad. And so if we go back to March 8th, same setup. At 11:45 a.m. we get activated into the short. This trade works for full take profit. No other trade met that condition. We already went over that. Now let's take a look at the next day right here. So this is, I believe, the 11th of March. And we get activated into the long, which is the example that I showed you guys prior. And again, you take your take profit at 35 points. Okay, very simple. Let's move on to the next day. Now, we have a trade here that we get the pattern. So again, I know it's lime green, but it's the same thing. We've got a down bar. We then have an up bar that creates a new lower low. So again, first candle, downward pressure. Second candle continues at downward pressure, but within that same candle, we are now getting that push up. And what does it do? It closes above the 8 EMA. This is at 9 a.m. All our conditions are met. And we then get activated into this trade, 35 points of profit. Beautiful. Now let's look at this scenario. This is a scenario, same day at 11 a.m. We get a setup to go long. A setup to go long. Why is there no trade here? Well, remember that one tick of offset rule? You would have had your order to go long right here. Okay. Did the next bar go through this entry? No, it does not. Here is, and this is why I'm creating this video, because this is going to explain to you some of the conditions that invalidates the setup. Now, if this next candle closes, we would need this candle to be an up bar, okay, to breach this entry. At least in the beginning. It wouldn't have to close that way, but it would have to get past this one tick of offset to get us into a long trade. If this candle, the next consecutive candle, goes opposite of the direction that you need it to go. So if we're going long and it's a down candle, the entire trade, how I trade it, is invalidated. Another scenario would be if this candle, the next candle, crosses and closes below the 8 EMA in the opposite direction, this trade is no longer valid. Now, let's assume that this next candle was an up candle, but did not hit my target here yet. It did not close below the 8 EMA. Then guess what, people? This trade is still a go. All I would need is that this next candle breach it, breach this entry line, which is the same entry from right here. It would need to breach it, and the trade would be in. Again, this one invalidates because if it closes as a down bar or closes below the ADMA, the trade is canceled. You're done. Okay? So hopefully we understand that. Now, same thing happens here at 12:15. We get a signal to go short. Everything on this pattern was good. Time condition was good. Closes below the ADMA. But your entry would be at the bottom, one tick off offset at the bottom of this candle, and the next candle closes an up bar, invalidates it. Also closes above the ADMA, invalidates it. Okay? Just so you can kind of understand what we're looking at here. The next day, this is at 8:30 in the morning. So this is something here that I wanted to explain to a lot of people. And this deviates a little bit from my oil and my gold strategy. When I say that I am looking to take trades between 8:30 and 1:15, I am literally meaning 8:30 to 1:15. So if we get the pattern starts at 8:15 and the finishing of the pattern is a go at 8:30 at the open, trade's on. The trade is on. Okay? I know there were some people, I believe over the last couple of weeks, we've had a couple scenarios like this. Well, this is one of them. This is, what day was this here? This is the 13th of March, about 3 days ago. And sure as shit, there is your scenario where at 8:30, right at the open, we get into the setup, and this is a valid setup. Okay? We then get another setup here at 11:15. Pattern looks good, closes below the ADMA, that's good. But what does this one do? This next candle closes as an up bar. Right there at the, once this next candle closes as an up bar, because we're looking for it to go short, invalidates it. You're done. Okay? So hopefully this gives you an understanding of what the pattern is, what the conditions are that we are, or that I should say that I am looking for each day. Now, people say, well, how many times do you trade this? I'm going to be honest with you. Generally speaking, this trade will show up 3-4 times per week. Okay? So it's not every day. We did go through we've gone actually through a like kind of a crazy scenario where we've had 7 consecutive trading days we had 5 consecutive winners, and then we had 2 days where we had 2 setups each day, one win, one lose. So those were kind of squashes. Personally, I like to take 1 trade per day or 1 setup per day. Now, if I have the strategy running and I'm not in front of the charts, if it takes another trade, it takes another trade. But you won't see that scenario play out a lot. All right, so that kind of explains that. Now, let me pull up TradingView chart. Okay, so this is same time period, Friday, March 8th. I have the NQ pulled up here on a 15-minute time frame, okay? And the only thing that I'm going to add to this is the EMA. So I'm going to add the EMA, and I'm going to change this EMA to 8. That's it. There's nothing else that I need on this chart to help me with this strategy, okay? So if we go to 8:30 in the morning, this is where your session would start. There's some great indicators there that will color the sessions for you from 8:30 to 1:15. You could do a search on indicators for session colors. There's a lot of really great ways to do that. Now, and again, this is just my eyes being trained to the pattern. I see a setup here that would have called for a long, okay? Because we get our down bar, which we know is a condition. We then get an up bar, which we know is another condition that creates a new lower low. Did that. It does not create a higher high. Did that. Now, what condition didn't it fulfill? Well, this then would be a pattern to go long. It closes below the ADMA, no trade. Okay? Now, if we go to our next example that I can just plain as day see, it's right here. This is your setup right. Oh, that was not a good circle. Jeez. Right there. Sorry, it's an ugly circle. Should have used something different. But here it is. Here's would be our setup right there to go short. We have an up candle. We then have a down candle that creates a higher high that does not create a lower low. And you would then have your entry. Let's mark the entry. One tick below. Right there. That would be your entry. Okay. Now let's actually do it with how you would trade this in TradingView. You would then take your short tool, go to the bottom of this candle with one tick of offset. Stop loss would be 35 points. So let's bring this down to 35 right there. And your target would be 35 points. 35 and a half. Let's go one more. Geez. Okay, well, you know that this would be 35 points. I can't get this thing to work. My mouse is a little strange today. So that would be your entry, that would be your take profit, that would be your stop loss, all set in TradingView. It's very simple to trade. It's very, very, very simple to trade. Okay, now I already see another setup to go here short, right here. Creates a higher high. You got your up candle. Your next candle is a down candle. Creates a higher high. Does not create a lower low. But there's two conditions that are not met here. This is to go short. Closes above the ADMA. Invalidates it. It is also at 1:45 p.m. It invalidates it because it doesn't meet my time condition. Another thing that I get asked, so I covered the 8:30. I covered when you would invalidate a trade once you have a setup, the candlestick pattern, the time, closes below or under the ADMA in the right way. I already told you guys that if the next candle flips and you're trying to go short and it closes as an up candle, trade is nixed. If it crosses and closes the ADMA, the trade is nixed. Okay, but if you are trying to go short and the next candle closes as a down bar, but still did not breach your entry and still close below the EDMA, it would still be a valid setup, and you can continue that on with your next candle. So I've kind of given you guys the full conditions. Remember, at the market open, if you're 8:15, if you're 8 and your 8:15 candle create the pattern and you get that activation at 8:30, right at the open, or 8:31, whatever time it needs to cross, that's a valid signal. Okay. Now, at 1:15, if you get that bar that closes at 1 to 1:15 and that gives you an activation, that's also a good trade. Much less likely, in my opinion, but they've still been successful enough to keep it in the strategy. The only issue that I don't like about these late trades is that I don't like being in a trade once you get into that 220 to 230 point in the market, central time. I just think that there's too much manipulation and too much algorithmic trading that's going on there. And I typically will cut a trade once I start getting to that 215 to 220 point. Okay, so that's full disclosure on that. So those trades would still be a valid setup. So again, if you're trading this on NinjaTrader and you want the strategy or you want the indicator, all you got to do is subscribe to the channel, leave me a like, and leave me a comment stating that you want it, and I will get it to you. If you're on TradingView, just replay this video if you need to set this up, but it's very simple. It's a very, very simple strategy that hopefully you guys find will help you guys get profitable. I could tell you that let's just take a look. And again, I put also the stats on all of the strategies at the end of each month. So for February, this had just a Rob reversal. Trading that would have given you 140 points of profit. So you can times that by, if you're doing 1E mini, which is $20 per point. And currently, coincidentally, in March, we are also up 140 points strictly on this strategy. So it's a good one. It allows you not to overtrade. It's simple rules and condition-based strategy. That's what I like to trade. That's the strategies that I've presented to you guys. Like I said, hopefully you guys get some value from this. I would really appreciate if you guys like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. All my strategies are linked below. Give that maybe a couple of days because I am updating the gold strategy and the oil strategy. So those links will be fully updated by the end of the weekend. And leave me a comment. Let me know if you've been trading it, how you've been doing. And I read all the comments. All right, everyone. Happy trading.